The lesson.
Oh yeah.
I remember back in the day, early 90s, there was a lot of the news. Adelaide just seemed to report everything, There was a lot of news traffic, like bus yards got done, it's on the news. Someone tagged a bus stop, it's on the news, Numerous things were just making the news, and just like found some stuff, some 90s news sort of segments that I don't fuck knows who posted them. They're just on there, which is kind of funny because I remember them. There's just some trains that got done and ended up, 90s news, this blah blah blah, and it's kind of funny to watch back. Just especially the haircuts of the old news reporters and stuff. But apart from that, there's a lot. I thought there would be more, to be honest. I thought you could just sort of find a lot of that shit, but I just posted a flick on Instagram and someone's written, check this out, and yep, wow, there it is. 2 segments, Channel 9, Channel 7. But back then there was so much of that happening.
It'd be good to see more of that stuff surface.
There's ones I remember that I can't find that I wouldn't mind seeing, but
I had a VHS of I think it was by you and a few other. We just used to compile double tape to tape our own videos, and I had this one cassette and it just had it was an hour and a half of just news clippings off the news, all graph, and I think my mum threw it out, and I'm still devastated to this day, man. 15 years ago, she just disappeared. But that had a lot of gold on it, all Adelaide, all footage of who was getting up at different lines and who was doing what,
It just used to be so much, and even certain spots where they filmed their segment, there'd be you'd see someone's tag in the background, or you'd see some stuff floating by or on a train, you'd be like, oh, killer. But back then you couldn't back record it or whatever, I'm not trying to go, oh, it's so bad back then, but it was one of those things, if you've seen it, you've seen it, it's cool, I've seen it heaps of times, my own stuff on the news and things like that, and you'd kind of wish there was some way of getting the footage from Channel 9 or getting the footage from wherever. That would be gold, but at the end of the day, I've got a photo of it, whatever.
So long as you get your flick, that's really what.
Yeah, but there's definitely instances where there was vandalism done on certain buses and things and trains, and they'd report on something, and I'd think, the same day as that, 4 other things happened that were way worse, and they're not on. It was, I guess the authorities are being really selective with what they let get out, and it's kind of weird. We'll let them know about this, but we won't let them know about this because they might. I don't know what they thought, but being on the inside circle of all that, you knew what was going on and what had happened. And, I remember a bus yard trash by 3 guys, little terrors, all of them. But basically, it bombarded the news for 3 or 4 days straight till they were all caught. You know what I mean? And just it was front page of the news for 2 or 3 days.
Over that,
yeah.
Judy time, but buses were running, just destroyed, man. Every bus in Adelaide pretty much at the time was just covered.
Little things like that were kind of cool, but I can't find a single clipping about it. Maybe I'm not skilled in that area, but I'm sure other researchers would be like, oh, that's there. But I'm just, I would love to see those news clippings, man. That was sort of pretty cool. I think it said something like buses destroyed or something like that. Or 75 buses destroyed, something. I don't know. But it was cool, the news went a bit crazy with it all.
The Obarm was a funny spot. The buses out there used to get hammered pretty bad.
Yeah, those guys down that way killed it. And, anyone venturing down there would kill it. And
big black 30mm tags just all over them, inside out. It was definitely was it CDH and those dudes were just killing it, man. And we were all about trains, yep. We're just down here every night on our local platform doing our thing. And they were all about the buses, and they had their little systems going on, little terminuses, and they'd wait for the driver to, just run up and destroy it. See that shit running around, it's like a bit of an eye-opener, And the local daily commuters just going to their work in the city in their suits, getting on these buses, it was pretty funny, Their faces.
There was seriously a time when Adelaide was pretty bombed, man, like...
What time?
Oh, for me, my memories of it, probably 91-ish,
I reckon 1991 was probably the most heavily bombed. It's like they just got really slack with the buff. Like even insides on trains were running throw-ups for like a couple of months on end. I remember getting on trashes on Belair Line, on Red Hens, Seam and Delft trashes and stuff, and then you get on a week later and there's like 30 more tags on it, it's just like sprawling out of control, and they'd let it run for like a few months, and I think when like the Grand Prix was getting a lot more recognised in Adelaide, there was a lot of international visitors. I think that's when they were like, okay, we're going to clamp down on this, and they just started relentlessly cleaning all the train stations, train lines, trains, everything, That's when the battle began, basically.
Like, I remember when I was a little kid, and going to school, and a lot of graffiti writers went to my school, and this was like 85, 86, the first sort of era when it came out, and there was like every motherfucker had a tag, everyone, like half the soccer team, half the this, I'm such and such, and I remember the trains like being bombed. Like I was probably 9 or 10 years old, and I remember every train had like tags. There was one of the main names at my school was Ecstasy. This guy, he was, I really looked up to. Looking back now, I looked up to him, like he was killer. He used to bomb heaps, and I used to watch him bomb the trains after school and shit. And so looking back, I'm like, oh yeah, I remember there always being tags, but then, I got out of it and all that. Everyone seemed to chill out from doing graph. That was, not the fad anymore or whatever, where other people stuck with it. I got into skateboarding and other shit. And then, around 89, I started noticing stuff by Foe and that, and just Tents and all those fellas, and just lines killed and that, and I was like, man, dudes are still doing this heavily. And then like around 90, when I got back into it and thought I want to tag again and bomb and do all that sort of thing, I noticed, it was hard to, the trains, they weren't as bombed as they were when I was a little kid type of, like my memories of it. But then, all of a sudden, it seemed like late 90, early 91, it was like a fad again. And everyone was just like, bombing.
I think 89 was a good year, actually. It sort of inspired our generation.
Yeah.
Like when you had like Foe and Tents and like FTP came out, Fuck the Public, this crew. And that was like a bunch of city riders that were pretty notorious, pretty heavy train hitters. And they were doing yards and doing panels here and there, but they were also more about trashing, bombing, getting their names up. Some crazy inside trashes were running FTP.
Yeah, man.
And then you had CSI as well on 991, which was sort of like the early, the crew before 738 was Crime Syndicate. So yeah, there was a lot of heavy bombers hitting the trains, and that opened our eyes, I think. In 89 we were catching trains and buses to school, seeing it, going, man, these dudes are killing it, And then I think by 1991 we started going, okay, look, that set the kind of foundations again, after it had died off in the mid-80s or whatever, that it sort of picked up again. Early 90s we started carrying the torch basically, and took it from there.
And then I think the end of that, like around 92, they got real strict with buffing, and it just sort of, they tried to clamp down. It was still getting done, like non-stop every day still, but things were getting buffed quicker, or some things were staying up. But yeah, I think if you had to put a finger on it, it was like, for me, I remember Adelaide getting pretty bombed around 90, 91. Even though, like we say, it was bombed earlier and people had it on lock earlier. I guess that's when I started really taking notice of it.
I think by 1990 and 91, it was like a new era. Like shit was like there's layers and layers of tags, and the dudes were going around each other, but it just looked like it was like a mess.
And it might have something to do with the STA giving out free travel for a while for
Yeah,
students.
that's right.
you
If
know.
you're under 15, I think.
16, 15. One
Yeah,
of them
so you got
ages
free bus travel, train travel all day, all night,
for students.
for students. So by the time I was 17, I was just like, yeah, I'm 15, free ride, false name, whatever,
And I think things just, people were just, instead of it being like a hassle to go somewhere, they're like, oh, fuck it, jump on a bus, I will go here. Well, I used to go skate in Noarlunga, skateboard up there, and, I just remember it always, have you got a ticket, have you got this? And then free travel kicked in, and I was just like, let's kill it.
Yeah,
I remember this interview with Rose, one of the head transit cops on Spray Conflict, and he said, we're not out to catch the guys doing the nice pieces, we're out to catch the guys, doing the tags and getting off that, and onto the next bus or train. And I was like, shit, they're onto it. Let's start watching your back.
The lesson. 2-7. Oh, yeah.